not working.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice. The sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. You sound to me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony. Surrender into the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to try. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Shana Tova Umituka. A happy and a sweet new year. And a very important first thing to say is, isn't Rachel Chang magical? Who had Rachel as their teacher this year? I see some of Rachel's students and former students in the room, Adam and Gabe and Talia. So not only is Rachel our amazing Limud song leader, not only does she have such a beautiful, magical voice that takes us on a journey with her. She made that video all herself because she's a technological wizard. And we are so, so happy. Yes, she had help from her brothers. It's true. But we are so, so happy that she will be leading us in prayer this morning, as well as Jennifer Kleinbaum, beloved Limud principal, family member of origin and choice to many people in this room, and incredible, incredible teacher. And I'm Rabbi Yael Rapport. It's so nice to see all of you on this Rosh Hashanah Sheni. That means number 2, because Rosh Hashanah is so nice. We do it twice. We have 2 days to celebrate and welcome in this new year of, what number is it? What number year is it? Put it in the chat. See if you can use all of your hands. Maybe if you have other people in the room with you, they can help you hold up all of the numbers of 5782. Acadia is fastest on the typewriter, but Isaac is also super fast, and Talia and Noah and Adina are super excited for everything that's coming all the way into 5783. We are so happy that all of you are here today. We miss you and we love hanging out with you. And it is so good. It is so sweet and wonderful, just like honey, that all of us get to spend the morning together, telling stories, learning new things, singing together, maybe even doing a little bit of praying and catching up. So to welcome all of us, Rachel is going to sing one of our very favorite songs, Hine Matov, and in it are special shout outs to anybody who is a brother. Are there any brothers in the room? Anybody who is a sister or uses she, her pronouns sometimes, maybe not even all the time. And anybody who is a person. Who's a person? Acadia is a person. Gabe is not a person, but Adam's a person. And it looks like Tucker's a person. And Isaac's got a huge smile like a person. But we won't make any assumptions. Hine matov umanaim, how good it is when achim, all of those who are brothers, nashim, all of those who are sisters, kulanu, when all of us come together.
Shana Tova, everyone. Well, I've been reflecting a lot on Rosh Hashanah as I listen to all of the services that CBST is offering in the evenings and even in the mornings when I go back and watch them afterward. And I've been thinking a lot about how we've been preparing ourselves, how we are preparing for the next year that's to come. And a lot of that means that we're looking back on the year that came before, and we're going to try to think about all of those things that we did in the past year and how we can be the best person that we can possibly be in the next year. And so the reason I'm saying this is because we're about to start a lesson about symbols and flags and ideas and how to represent them. And as we go through everything, I want you to think about what are the symbols and flags and ideas that might represent you. Who are you going to be next year? I'm going to start us off with some name that symbol, guessing to see if you can get some of these symbols, and you can unmute yourself and you can tell me when you think you know what it is. Okay, are you ready? We'll start off pretty easy. All right. Love. You can write it in the chat or you can say it out loud. What have we got here?
Love.
Yeah. So I see, excellent. In the chat, I see heart. I hear people saying love. And so what is it about this heart that makes you think it represents love?
Peace and love and family and friendship.
Cardio. Yes, on some machines, that's what it means. And so this shape, this color, they've come to represent for us. They've come to be a symbol of all of those things. You ready for the next one?
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Okay, next one. I think you guys can get this one.
Mm-hmm.
Recycling.
Yes, yes, I see it both in the chat. You guys are very fast. So this is recycling. When this symbol was first invented, it meant that the items that it was printed on were made from recycled objects. Now it's also come to mean that you can recycle it. You can put it in your recycling bin. So it can mean a couple of different kinds of things. It means a lot of very deep environmental thoughts. All right. Oh, Rabbi Report, did you say there's a Jewish star inside the space?
Yeah, look at the negative space, you know, like the points are in the folds of the arrows. Jennifer, I don't know if you've got a cursor that you can draw the Jewish star with, but
Let me see.
do people see it? It's just me because I'm a rabbi and I see Jewish stars everywhere.
But if you look in the, let's see. So
Yeah,
here's a corner right here.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how far I can go up. Well, that means that you might also, I think some of you have already said this one. How about this symbol?
Peace sign.
Yes, very good. So
That started at 6.
So this is a sign that means peace. And
That we show peace in God with our hearts.
that's lovely. And for those of you that aren't old enough to remember this, it was originally made so that countries by trying to get countries and to stop making really big weapons like nuclear weapons. And so the actual symbol of it sort of looks like this. Let me see if I can back it up. Sort of looks like a person like standing like this with their hands open, with their palms open and saying, I'm no threat to you. So that's where that came from. All right, ready for the next one? You have to get this one, otherwise.
A
All right,
star.
there we go. A Jewish star. Any other names that you know that it goes by?
Star David.
Excellent. Does anybody know it in Hebrew?
Magen David.
Yes, very good. A Magen David. And so we're going to talk more about this Magen David later, but it's really just a shape. Even though it means things to us, what does it mean to you?
A star.
Like a star in the sky?
It means love and peace.
Love and peace is a good thing to be.
That's true. And Rabbi Rapport is telling us that the Magen in Magen David means shield. So we're talking about King David's shield, and it's a sort of could be a protecting representation. And usually it means Jews. It's representative of modern Judaism. But a long, long time ago, thousands of years ago, it was actually just sort of two triangles, two equilateral triangles for those of you that are doing geometry right now. And so it's very interesting to me how these symbols mean something to us, but for someone else that doesn't know, if an alien came and looked at this symbol, they wouldn't know that it meant Jews or Judaism. They would just see the shape. So to us, worldwide, globally, we know. All right, this one you guys have to get.
What's that? What did you get on?
I'm pretty sure you've been using these a lot over the last year and a half.
Or we see that on
On videos.
Pausing button.
on videos.
On videos.
Yep.
We're pausing and unpausing and
And stop.
and stop.
Okay, so I've heard pause and stop.
And recording.
I've
And
got
record.
pause up here.
That's right.
Stop over here.
And record.
Okay, we've got
I'm
record.
actually surprised I didn't get
Excellent. So what you're looking at are the media controls, the buttons on a lot of the music players. For those of us that are a little older, maybe on our cassette players or CD players or VCRs. You'll see them on your remote controls. And And again, these are symbols that can be used around the world. These are not English words that are translated into symbol. These are recognized all over the world. So anybody will know that if they hit that triangle, something will play. It's very interesting. So that's the media controls. Let's see if you guys can get the next one. Oh, yes, some remotes, but not on Zoom. That's correct. All right.
That means, go ahead, say it.
So these are two symbols. What do you think they mean?
You're right. Say it.
Women
They
and
mean
men.
male and female.
Genders, also known as
Male and
everybody
genders,
else.
male and female.
You guys got it. So we've got, they represent genders of male and female. The male one is sort of above my head right here, with the circle that goes with an arrow to the side. Used to mean Mars, and the other pink, the pink symbol, that's typically the symbol for women, and it represents also Venus, the planet. And so when we see these symbols, we might sometimes see them on a bathroom. We might sometimes see them when we're looking at a sort of a document, like we're trying to identify a person. And I would say that now that these are not the only two symbols that represent all of humanity. I definitely see people saying that they don't have to be pink and blue. In fact, couple hundred years ago, pink was the color of boys, and all men wore dresses and tights. So things change in our culture, but these are the symbols that we have seen used before.
Symbols for man and woman.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Poop.
Poop. Does that have to do
Eli,
with
stop.
All right, so I'm going to go to the next one, and we're going to talk a little bit about more expansive symbols. Are you ready? All right. Have any of you seen anything like this before? I see some hands raised. You want to take a guess in the chat? Isaac, I see your hand up.
Transgender or non-binary? Which one? It's either one.
Isaac, you're a genius. It's both. We've got a symbol here that is combining those two previous symbols that we saw before. You'll notice it's not blue and pink, and it's combining the symbol for female and the symbol for male. So, and also on the other side, gotta get my hands right here, and on the side of the circle that's pointing this, you have both an arrow and the cross, and that's representing exactly what Isaac said. So it's representing people who are transgender and people who are non-binary. Some people have put a slash through the middle of the circle, sort of the symbol for no, another international symbol, so that they're saying they don't belong to any of these specific genders. They feel that they are representative of themselves and they don't want to be assigned something specific. All right, let's see. All right, this is my last one. Can you guess what symbol this is?
Batman light.
Batman.
So I heard somebody say Batman light, and I've heard a lot of Batman. Do you know
Batman
specifically?
shadow, maybe.
Do you know specifically what part of bat? Oh yeah, Katie, I see it. You got a bat signal. Excellent. So this is the bat signal that Commissioner Gordon puts up into the sky in Gotham City when he wants Batman to come and save the day. So it's not just one symbol in this picture. How did you know it was a bat signal? Like, what is it? How come this isn't just the person Batman? How did you know that?
There's a spotlight.
There's a spotlight. So if I
And
look at
plus
this,
it's also, plus if you look at it closer, there's that darker light, which is pointing up.
that's great. So when you say a spotlight, I know exactly what you mean. But if I just look at it as a picture, if I was an alien looking at this picture, I would just see a yellow circle with a sort of different yellow coming from the bottom of the corner. So to us, who internationally, everybody will know that this sort of belongs to Batman. This is the Batman signal. It means it's a distress call for help. To the people of Gotham, it's a signal of hope because now they have someone to come and protect them. To the criminals of Gotham, it means watch out because we've got somebody that's out to get you. And so now what I want to think, we're not all Batman. We don't all get to wear that symbol. But what I'd like to do is I would like to share with you a whiteboard for you to see if you can answer 3 challenge questions. If you don't know how to annotate, you should just bring your mouse to the top of the screen. Does everybody see the whiteboard and just the whiteboard? Okay. You bring your mouse to the top of the screen. There should be a view options and you select annotate. I know most of you know how to do this already. And I'll just do one squiggly here just to make sure everything's working. And what I'd like you to do for your first challenge is I would like you to try to make a symbol that reminds you of Rosh Hashanah. Any symbol that reminds you of Rosh Hashanah. I think I see an apple. Is that an apple? Oh, Dora, is that a shofar? Oh, I see the fish head. All very good symbols of Rosh Hashanah. I didn't quite catch that. Oh, is that a bee? I see a bee. We've got candles. I see a pomegranate. We have a lot of amazing artists in this group. Okay, is there anything that I did not recognize?
I made a party hat.
A party hat? And is that a pot of honey? I want to make sure I'm getting this right. I don't want to misrepresent your drawings.
Mine was honey.
Okay. All right, well, if I missed anything.
It's a new year.
Excellent. If I didn't guess your particular thing, just put it in the chat. I want to make sure we're not forgetting about anyone. I see another little bee. And now I'm going to clear the drawings, okay? I'm going to clear all the drawings and I want you to hold on because I have another challenge for you. The next challenge is a little bit tricky because now we're talking about ideas, all right? We're talking about the past year and a half, our global pandemic of the coronavirus. The idea of what's been happening in the past year. How would you represent that?
Can you please repeat, Rabbi? Hannah didn't hear.
So I'm challenging everyone to draw on the screen something to them that represents a symbol of the coronavirus or the past year and a half of the different ways in which we've been living, something that is meaningful to you, something that you think might be recognizable. I see a lot of virus particles.
What did I make?
Let me see. Are those eyes?
No, it's a mask.
Oh, nice. Oh, I didn't see that. I can't always tell who's drawing exactly what. I see the mask. I see now there's somebody wearing a mask. Am I missing anything else? Did I miss? I see lots of viruses and masks. I don't know what.
I drew a house because everybody was in it a lot.
That is certainly true. That's certainly true. We've been spending a lot of time at home. Do I see a little, is that a person? You definitely write in the chat if I'm not getting it right, or if you want to make sure that I see your representation, your symbol. All right. Oh, I see a computer. Certainly, that's what we're on right now. All right, I'm getting ready to clear your drawings. I want to give everybody a heads up so that nobody feels bereft. Nobody feels left out when I erase them. Last challenge. Are you ready? Okay, the last challenge is that I'd like you to draw a symbol of love and affection without drawing a heart. Do you think you can do that? How could you represent that? I see a rainbow forming. I see circles intersecting like a very complicated Venn diagram. I think I see a pet cat. Is that a cat? All right, you guys are going to help me out with this one. Is that a present? I saw an airplane for a few minutes.
It's the cat.
A cat. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I see people facing each other. And someone actually wrote the word love, which I want to tell you is more sophisticated of an idea than you would think, since letters are just symbols for the sounds that we're making. In this case, it's in English, and the things that you're drawing can be perceived in any language. It's really complicated to try to draw something that people can understand without knowing your language. You guys are doing it fabulously. All right, get ready. I'm going to clear the screen. You've done an amazing job. If I missed your thing, write it in the chat. All right. All right, well, we're going to keep moving on, but we're going to come back. So keep thinking about your symbols and your identity and what you might think about the year to come. Who do you want to be?
So to help us understand the story of symbols, which is ancient, pretty much as soon as human beings existed, they started wanting to explain ideas to each other. And that's the whole story of symbols. There is one member of CBST who was very deeply involved with the idea of making a symbol for the LGBTQ community. Can anybody guess who I'm talking about? There is a book involved about them. So this is a person, I'm going to give you more clues. This is a person who created a symbol that means the LGBTQ community. Yes, this is a story about Gilbert Baker, the person who made the rainbow flag. And so first, we're going to start with the story, who is Gilbert? This particular story is a book that I know some people have on their shelf. It's called Sewing the Rainbow. And we are going to read it together, part by part, pretty quickly, because we never want to be without a story during services. That's the cover. It's by Gail Pittman and illustrated by Holly Clifton Brown. In a small town in Kansas where everything was gray and dull and flat, there was a little boy who was full of color and sparkle and glitter, and his name was Gilbert. Gilbert loved visiting his grandmother's clothing store. He'd sit next to her while she sewed and drew beautiful gowns and costumes. Gilbert dreamed of someday bringing these designs to life. But one day his father took away his art supplies and tore up all his drawings. Oh no, Gilbert. Surrounded by building blocks and erector sets, sports gear, and slingshots, Gilbert's colorful, sparkly, glittery personality started to fade, and he too became gray and dull and flat, just like the Kansas landscape, which has some pretty parts. When I grow up, he dreamed, I'll go somewhere that's filled with color. But that didn't happen. Instead, when Gilbert turned 18, he received a letter that knocked the very last bit of sparkle out of him. Gilbert hated his dull, flat uniform. Does everybody understand that the letter that came for Gilbert was saying that he had to join the army and wear one of the American Army uniforms and serve in the army? Just checking. He refused to shoot the gun they gave him. I won't do it, he said. I'm not going to carry a gun. They made him do push-ups. They called him ugly names, but Gilbert wouldn't budge. The idea of shooting a gun made him feel sick. So they sent him to San Francisco, where he would never have to pick up a gun again. One more page, one more page. The day Gilbert arrived in San Francisco, he saw magic. Instead of the gray, dull, flat landscape of Kansas, where there were rolling green hills, there was a shimmering blue bay and a cool white fog wafting over the Golden Gate Bridge. Gilbert was home. Finally, he could breathe. He could be his colorful, sparkly, glittery self. And now we'll take a pause from the reading. Has anybody been to San Francisco? Will you wave at me or put up an emoji reaction if you've been to San Francisco, where Gilbert used to live? Rachel Chang has. Anybody else? Acadia has. Woo. And Talia, Noah, and Adina, their house has. So the idea that we can all be our sparkly, true selves, it's a very important idea in Judaism. This is a recognition that each of us is different, and the way that we were created is exactly how we're supposed to be. In the high holidays, we remember that we can always try to be better, a better version of ourselves. We can try harder to be kinder, to be more dedicated to our work or to our learning, that we can try to direct the things that we care about in a way that fixes the world instead of destroying it. But each of us, as we are and as we are becoming, is very important, and the world wouldn't be complete without us. When we sing the Baruch Hu, when we say, let's all gather together for prayer, we can't do it without each one of you. You can say some prayers in Judaism by yourself, but not all of them. And the Baruch Hu, you can't say by yourself. That's one that has to be done with a group of Jewish people. And that's one of the reasons why we come together to celebrate holidays, so that we can all be together and share ideas and thoughts and language and symbols. So I'm going to sing the Baruch Hu, and the special encoded melody that we only use on the high holy days. You don't hear the music like this for the Baruch Hu on an average Friday night when you're at services, or Saturday morning when you are at a B'nai Mitzvah service or Liberal Minyan or anything like that. So I want to invite you, we've been sitting for a while, if you would like to stand up, take a stretch, or if your spirit needs to rise, but your body's going to stay where it is, it's totally fine. But this is a good stretch break. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai dai. Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Va'ed. If you were standing, thank you for standing up to be counted, and you can take a seat now. As we move into the next prayer of our service, we're thinking about symbols in a new way. As Jennifer mentioned just a little bit offhand, the idea of letters are symbols, right? What is it about the letter A that makes us say, A? What is it about the Hebrew letter Resh that makes us say, R? Nothing really. We just decided. We all agreed on something for once. And we said, that's what the sound is going to be. And let's make sure everybody matches so we don't get confused. It used to be, however, that Hebrew letters and English letters, lots of different language letters, were symbols that represented more closely an idea that they were trying to share. So the Hebrew letter Ayin, the letter name Ayin, is also a Hebrew word. If anybody knows the Hebrew word ayin and wants to put an emoji of it in the chat, I would be very, very impressed. And if you need a hint, you can look at Stephen Figura Smith's name, because they have an emoji ayin in their name. Do you see what I'm talking about? It is not a shower, but that is a good guess. Any other emojis that people want to guess? So if people look at Stephen Figura Smith's name, it is not a crown. That is a keter. But that's also an excellent guess. And Adam and Gabe did the right guess. It's an eye. So if you look at Stephen Figura Smith's name and you see that sort of blue symbol, yeah, Lizzie put it into the chat. Thank you, thank you. That blue symbol, it's a circle with a circle, with a circle, with a circle. But actually you can see, if you have a good imagination, that it's a blue eye looking out at you. The letter ayin means eye. And the shape of an ayin, yes, whoever put that emoji into their reactions, that's exactly it. The shape ayin is supposed to look like your eye. This is a really fascinating story about how language develops, from the things that we see to the things that we hear to the things that we write to the things that we say. And one of the clearest expressions of language as symbol comes to us in American Sign Language. And sign languages of all different languages across the world: Portuguese Sign Language and Hebrew Sign Language and Chinese Sign Language. So many of you have been working on the American Sign Language for the Shema, and you know that you're trying to communicate an idea with a symbol that you use your hands to help you. So let's real quick review our signs for the Shema. Can anybody show me what is the sign for pay attention, focus up, Israel? Yes, I see Talia got it. I see Isaac and Gabe and Acadia. Everybody's going focus. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Focus. That's a good sign for focusing, right? What is our sign for Israel, for Jewish people? There's a lot of different ways we could do it, right? And Acadia is showing us the Portuguese one, which is my personal favorite. Remember that Magen David, that Jewish star that Jennifer showed us as a symbol? And this is one way you can make it with your hands. Fingers together, make a triangle, and flip, flip, flip. Rachel's doing some excellent flipping. Ooh, Isaac and Ruth's house is doing excellent, excellent flipping. Very nice. Good job, Isaac Smith. And focus, Israel. Why do you think we have the sign for God that we use? Can anybody show me what's the sign for God that we use in Limud? Yeah, Gabe's got it. Adam's got it. Isaac's got it up here. Any suggestions? Why would that be our sign for God? There's probably a lot of different ways that we could explain that. Go for it, Isaac.
Because God is one and there's only one God.
All right, so we only use one hand.
That's the simplest answer if you...
Yeah.
That's the simplest answer that's easiest to understand and quickest.
Excellent.
Carrying the world.
Carrying the world? I like that too, Talia. So we're not using like multiple hands to make this symbol of God, because in Judaism, we believe there is one God, one arm, and maybe God is carrying the world. I love that. Okay, focus. Israel. Adonai is our God. Adonai is, like Isaac said, one. All right, let's watch the video. Some of you are in the video, like Adam and Gabe and Acadia, and try and sign along with your symbols. Or it's not American Sign Language, but if you would like to use a different symbol, if you want to get creative and use your own symbols that are different from the American Sign Language symbols, you're invited. And I'll be watching to see who has creative symbols. Go for it, Rosemary. Beautiful, beautiful job. That was gorgeous sign language. So now we'll practice without the video, and Rachel will lead us in the music so we can match the beautiful music and the Hebrew words with our American signs.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Nicely done, everyone. All right, so up next we have the Via Hafta, and this is our first choice that we have to make. So I have two options for our Via Hafta. Our first option is that we can chant it the way that it's written in the Torah, using the special marks that are in the Torah that tell us how to sing it. Our second option is that we can sing the beautiful English translation written by Debbie Friedman. So those are your two options. We can do the Torah chanting, or we can do the English version. So you're going to get to vote now using your body. So let's come up with some symbols for this. So if you would like to hear the Torah chanting version, let's turn your finger into a yod, into a pointer, and go like this, like you're reading from the Torah. Or if you want to hear the English version called "And Thou Shalt Love," let's make a heart, a symbol for love. So let's say you can cast your votes now. If you want to hear the one in English, you can make this heart. And if you want to hear the Torah chanting, you can go like this. And let's see what we have. I see a very nice heart over there. I see some votes for Torah chanting. All right, it looks like we have a winner for today for Torah chanting. So we'll save our English version for another time. All right, so we'll chant together starting. You can look at the Hebrew at the very top, or you can look at the part at the bottom, which has it written out in English. And we'll sing. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Excellent voting, everybody. And thank you, Rachel. So let's find out what happened to Gilbert when he got to San Francisco. Remember that Gilbert came to San Francisco and he could finally be his sparkly, glittery self. He thought about his grandmother's clothing store. He thought about the drawings his father tore up, and he realized he wanted all of that back. So Gilbert taught himself to sew, and he created fabulous costumes just like the ones he drew when he was a little boy. Does anybody else like to sew or like to draw? Put into the chat if that's one of your favorite things like Gilbert. We can keep going. Word got around fast. He sewed regalia for Mama Jose and her imperial court. He sewed costumes for famous singers like Sylvester. He sewed banners for protest marches and rallies. Gilbert's creations were everywhere. He was making the city more and more beautiful by the day. So there are people who love to draw, especially. And is there anybody, and there's some people who love to paint. Does anybody like to protest? Have you gone to a protest or a march or a rally? while you have been alive. Put into the chat if you remember a march or a protest or a rally that you went to. And we'll continue while you think about it. There was just one thing that continued to blemish their beautiful city. It was a symbol that in Gilbert's community was a constant reminder of evil. That's not a very clear part of the story, but we're going to talk more about it. We need a new logo, his friend Harvey Milk said to him one day, and Gilbert got an idea. He brought huge bolts of cotton fabric, buckets of dye, and a lot of thread. And then he gathered up all his friends and got to work. They cut the fabric into long strips, dyed them in big trash cans, and then headed to the local laundromat to rinse and dry the strips. They ironed the creases across the fabric so it was nice and smooth. And then Gilbert began to sew. They worked until dawn. I see people who have been to pride parades, Black Lives Matter marches, and union rallies. By the time the sun rose, Gilbert and his friends had created 2 beautiful rainbow flags. But their work wasn't over. A flag belongs to the wind, Gilbert said. The big day arrived. A crowd gathered around City Hall in San Francisco. Gilbert held his breath. Would people understand his flag? Up they went. The flags unfurled, flooding the sky with a spectrum of colors. The city radiated with color and sparkle and glitter. And the crowd lit up like the gold at the end of the rainbow. And see in the book how the rainbow looks? See in some of our Zoom backgrounds what our rainbow flags look like? We're going to talk about that. Keep going. Today, the rainbow flag is everywhere, even in the small town in Kansas where Gilbert grew up. Wherever you see a rainbow flag, you'll know it's okay to be your colorful, sparkly, glittery self. So let's take it back one step and talk about flags.
So we are going to continue our discussion. We're talking about symbols and flags, and I wanted to give you the fancy word for symbols that I've been using when we're having this discussion. The word is ideographs. Idea, graph. It just means the drawing representation of an idea, which to me sort of seems an impossible task, but then we just saw a whole bunch of them before, and you were all able to identify them. And no matter what language you speak, you'll be able to know what those symbols, what those ideographs mean. But where do we use them? Rabbi Rapport's been talking about one in the book. She was talking about flags. Does anybody have any other places where they think they've seen any symbols? I couldn't quite hear that one.
The Stonewall Inn. The Stonewall Inn.
At the Stonewall Inn is definitely a place where we see a particular rainbow flag a lot, that's for sure. And how about, does anybody follow any sports teams? Anybody like to play sports? Sometimes you have an emblem or a symbol or colors that are representing your team. Yes, so now people are putting their favorite teams in. You can do that. Sorry, what was that?
Mascot.
Maybe if you write in the chat, I can't always hear what everybody's saying, but maybe if you're able to write it in the chat or get help writing in the chat, I'll be sure to mention it. Rabbi Rapport's was mentioning the flag and the mascots, that's for sure. We have on a flag, it's using symbols. It's just a piece of cloth. It's just a piece of cloth in a specific shape, of a specific size. It has specific colors and a design using symbols or emblems that have been created to represent a sports team, a country, a state, and many other different and many types of people. And so I'd like to just show you a few of them. I know you've seen these before, but I wanted to just have you tell me what you know about these particular these particular flags, okay? Let's see. All right, we'll start with an easy one. What is it?
American flag.
Excellent. The American flag. What are some of the symbols on the American flag? And what do they mean? We've got stars, good.
Colonies.
Yes, very nice. The stars equal the colonies, and now the stars equal the states. That's right.
And the stripes still equal
Oh,
the colonies.
That's true. I was thinking of a different flag when I was thinking of the stars and the colonies. I was thinking of this flag, which was the flag when there were only those 13 colonies. And so now we have 50 of them, and soon we might even have more. So we might have to make room for more stars on our flag. But the stripes will remain the same. That's sort of where we came from, and the stars are where we're going. The funny thing about this flag is that it actually came, all those colors, from the flag of Great Britain, where we were fighting against when we formed the United States of America, but we still took all the same colors from their flag. We also took the melody from the national anthem. We took a lot of things, but they were comforting to us. They still were able to represent the people, but they formed them into in a different way that was their own. All right, so now we have a lot of flags, a lot of flags. And the reason I put this here was just for you to get an idea of all the different kinds of colors and shapes that different countries are using on their flags. Do you see any patterns in there? Are there any symbols that you see more than once?
There's a lot of red, white, and blue. And crosses and stripes as well. Not just stripes, but also cross symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sweden. And
Does
then
anybody see any other shapes?
Can people see a moon shape on more than one flag? That's also a religious symbol.
well, it's
I see one right here.
I see stars and spots on some flags.
Excellent. We've got big circles, we have little circles, we have the crescent with the star. I see some triangles and some X's. The funny thing about all of these flags is that they're all the same shape. So at some point, we decided culturally, globally culturally, that all of our flags were going to be the same kind of rectangle.
So there's one exception
Switzerland
to
is a
that.
square.
Yeah, there's one exception to that, which I only know because it's hanging in my room, but the flag of Tibet is 2 triangles on top of each other. It's like a zigzag.
That's
It's the only
awesome.
one that's not a square.
That's fantastic. Well, I know when I've been to sports arenas in the past, they sometimes have little banners that are triangles on a stick kind of a thing. But there's a lot of different patterns. And so different people are getting ideas from different places. And the place where you're from often wants to make their own flag. Did you know that every state in the United States of America has its own flag? We weren't just content to have one flag to unite us. Everybody wanted their own. Everybody wants to be seen. All right, we already went over this symbol. Can you remind me who it represented?
David.
That's right.
Legit.
That's right.
And the people of Israel.
That's right. The people of Israel. It's the Magen David, the shield of David. And it's been used in many different ways. So in the late 1800s, the Jews that were thinking about returning to Israel decided that they wanted this symbol to be part of a flag that they were going to create. But then in between that creation of the nation state of Israel and that decision came a pretty bad area of time of the Holocaust in World War II, when Jews were actually labeled with the Star of David. And that was how we were identified as Jews, and as people that were undesirable. And many other groups of people had different symbols that were labeled onto them, that were forced onto them, that they did not have a choice about. Thankfully, whoops, skipped one. Thankfully, we were able to reclaim our symbol and not let it continue to feel like a symbol of persecution, and be able to use it as a symbol of pride, and be able to use it on, which country's flag is this? That's right, Israeli flag. And so the Israeli flag is actually modeled after a talit, the blue stripes that are on a talis. Rabbi Rapport, you might not have blue ones, but
I'm wearing a white one for Rosh Hashanah.
Nowadays, you can make talits with any color, and at CBST we often have them all rainbow colors. But blue was often a color that the stripes were, and they had the Magen David.
There's a section of the Ve'ahavta with that part that we chanted from the Torah. What comes next says you need a blue stripe to give yourself a reminder all of the time for you to focus on God. And so that's why so many talitot, that's why so many prayer shawls have blue on them. It comes from a snail that you're not allowed to eat because it's not kosher, but it makes the dye.
Well, since we were just learning about Gilbert Baker, I wanted to, I have a quote from Gilbert. Let me see if I can pull this up so you can read it. So Gilbert said in 1978, when he thought of creating a flag for the gay movement, there was no other symbol. There was no other symbol for them other than the pink triangle, which was what the Nazis used to identify homosexuals, gay and lesbian people in concentration camps. Even though the pink triangle was and still is a powerful symbol, it was very much forced upon us. And so that is one of the reasons why Gilbert wanted to create a new symbol. So here's the old symbol. And then we were able to take it back in the 80s, in the 1980s and 1990s. We used this symbol to mean something good, even though maybe the black makes you feel like it's negative. It's not in this case. In this case, we're trying to say, people were trying to talk about AIDS, a disease that was affecting everybody, but specifically the gay community. And they were using the pink triangle to say, don't forget about us. If you don't talk about AIDS, people are going to die. And so they wanted to be seen. They wanted the disease to be talked about, vaccines to be made, all of the, sort of medical community to figure things out. And obviously we know that that is not the symbol now that we use internationally to represent the LGBTQ community. In fact, Gilbert made a new one for us. And Rosemary, if you can play the video. Oh, if you have the video. Okay. If not, I think I can get that video. Here we go. Oh. There we go. Thank you, Rosemary.
Gilbert Baker wasn't Jewish. He showed up at CBST as a friend of Rabbi Kleinbaum's. He was somebody I hit it off with immediately. A real honor was to be able to spend a day with Gilbert, carry my sewing machine on the subway to 30th Street and sit in the lobby and sew flags. And when he died about a year later, I had the great honor of carrying the rainbow flag at the front of the Pride March.
So that was Mitchell Bloom talking about Gilbert Baker coming to CBST, and Gilbert was the person who really created this idea of the rainbow representing the LGBTQ community. And what we've done with it is spread it all over the place so that now internationally we all know what it represents. Let's see here. I might have to skip through a few slides that you've already seen to get back after the movie. Sorry about that. There we go. So this is the flag that Gilbert made. And Gilbert actually had was tasked by Harvey Milk to make a flag that would be representative. And does anybody know where the idea of the rainbow comes from in the Torah? It's one of the most ancient symbols, and many, many cultures use it in different ways. But the Jews in the Torah have it in one particular story where it's very meaningful. Does anybody know that story? I'll give you a hint. There's a big ark in the story.
Noah's Ark.
That's right. That's right. When Noah was on the ark, God, after the flood was over, God made a promise to Noah and all of Noah's descendants that he wouldn't make any floods anymore to destroy the world. And in fact, that rainbow became a symbol of hope and of peace and I would say resilience. And all of the colors of the rainbow in light, in sunlight, in physics, sunlight is made of all of these. So an actual rainbow has infinite number of colors, and Gilbert chose 8 of these colors to go on the flag above. And this 8-colored flag you can see behind Rabbi Rapport and behind Rachel Chang and behind Stephen Figueroa-Smith. And those have 8 different stripes. But the one that you're probably used to seeing the most is this one, the one that only has 6 stripes. And that's because that hot pink stripe and that turquoise stripe, they just cost more to dye, to make, to color the fabric. So they ended up sort of skipping those colors because it was easier to mass produce them with just these 6 colors. And now you know a little bit of a secret that I'll bet lots of people that you know haven't heard of, that the original flag is actually 8 stripes. Most people don't even know that there used to be a hot pink flag and a turquoise stripe and a turquoise stripe. And CBST has 4 of those flags hanging up. I want to show you mine too. I have a little one here. I don't know if you can see. It's a little piece of canvas that Gilbert Baker signed on the back that was painted, and you can see it has all 8 stripes. That's how I remember that Gilbert made it. There's also a lot of other different kinds of flags that people are using to represent themselves. So after the rainbow flag was made, other people started making flags to represent themselves and groups of people that they felt like they belonged to. So this is the bisexual flag. It has a pink stripe and a blue stripe. We've already talked about that and how those 2 colors don't have to really represent 2 genders, but people who, men who love both men and women, women who love both men and women, people who are transgender or are non-binary, loving anyone, they might really think that that the rainbow flag wasn't enough. Maybe they needed their own flag. So this is the bisexual flag that was created. This is the transgender flag. You might have also seen this at CBST. We've again got our blue and our pink, but in this case, we have this white stripe in the middle that represents transitioning or people who don't belong to either of those 2 binary. Binary just means having to choose one of 2 things. And we know that gender is not just 2 things. So this is the transgender flag that was created and that you'll see again in just a minute. This is a very recent flag that's been made. We sometimes call it the Philadelphia flag because it was created at an event in Philadelphia where they specifically wanted to make sure to include people of color. They wanted to include a black and a brown stripe at the top to represent LGBTQ people of color, because they wanted to make sure that we were being inclusive of everyone. It's very hard to make something that's inclusive of everyone. Hold on, there we go. And then this last flag I wanted to show you is called the Progress flag. It has both the rainbow flag and the Philadelphia flag and the transgender flag inside of it. And it's you'll see this in different places. Some people have started to ask, all right, now there's a lot of flags. which flag is the right flag? How do I know which flag I should fly? And the answer really is whichever flag speaks to you, whichever flag makes you feel like you, makes you feel seen, gives you an identity that you can feel proud about. And this is another quote from Gilbert Baker, that the rainbow is part of nature and you have to be in the right place to see it. It's beautiful. Of all the colors, even the colors you can't see. And if you were with us yesterday, you learned about how the bee could see ultraviolet light, and those are colors that we can't see. Those are beautiful too. And the rainbow really fits us as a people because we are all the colors. Our identity is all the colors. We're all the genders, races, and ages. So Gilbert believed that the rainbow was inclusive of everybody, just like white light, sunlight is inclusive of all of the different colors. And I just picked a couple of pictures from CBST so you could see how we use the rainbow flag. This is a chuppah, which is the, I don't know, Rabbi, what you call it? I want to say the covering, the
Marriage
roof.
canopy.
Canopy, when people are getting married, that Jews use. And here we have a rainbow flag with a Magen David on it. And here again, we have, these are actually the flags that Gilbert was sewing in the video you saw earlier. This is the Pride March in 2019, is that right? Am I getting that right?
18.
18.
18.
And we were using it to represent people, people who were persecuted, who were killed because they were gay. And we wrote all of their names on each flag. There were 49 flags that snaked in the through the Pride Parade. And so we've been able to really use the rainbow flag to represent us in many different ways. And so I'm going to stop there. We've talked a lot about flags and symbols and ideographs and identities. And I want you to keep thinking about yourself and who you want to be. And next year, how you can be, what symbols you can use to represent yourself.
Thank you, Jennifer. So all of us have the freedom to express who we really are. We have reached this great moment of liberation, which means that we have the ability to decide for ourselves. Nobody decides for us. And we have a beautiful prayer in the Jewish tradition called Mi Chamocha, which celebrates that feeling of liberation that is focused on the story of the children of Israel when they left slavery in Egypt and they're about to cross the sea into their own freedom. And Rachel has a question for you.
All right, we've reached our next vote. So I have two options for the Mi Chamocha. If you would like to hear the version that is upbeat the whole time, which some of us heard yesterday, you can put your hands up at the very top of your screen like this and make some upbeat fast hands. Or if you want to hear the one that has a cool, slow, dramatic beginning before it also gets upbeat, you can make some dramatic hands down here at the bottom of your screen. So if you want to hear the dramatic one at the beginning, hands here. If you want to hear the one that's upbeat the whole time that we heard yesterday, hands here. Let's see. All right, I see some of each. Looks like today we're going with the dramatic beginning, which also for those of you who voted for the upbeat, this one's also going to get upbeat pretty quickly too. So this seems like a good choice. Thanks for voting. All right, here we go. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Well, in addition to talking about symbols and flags, some of you might know that I also have a degree in biology. Last year we talked a lot about shofars and the animals that give us these shofars, and how they're really created in order for us to listen, for us to really pay attention and focus on our new year, on Rosh Hashanah, and to the importance and the heaviness of needing to really think about ourselves and how we exist in the world and how we relate to other people. It's such an ancient musical instrument. And we're blessed that we've been able to be given the gift from animals to sound the shofar. And it's really an interesting, if you'd like to learn more about shofars, I would love to talk about it more, but we'll run out of time here. But for now, I would just like to say that a shofar is really a conversation. It's not something you can do by yourself. You need to do it in community. And so we're about to play a video of the Tekiah Gedola, which is the call on the shofar that is sort of the last call. It's the big Tekiah Gedola, and it lasts for a really long time. So I would challenge you to see, one, if you can hold your breath for as long as the shofars are sounding, and two, there are going to be a number of people sounding the shofar. See if you can guess which one you think is going to be able to sound it the longest. All right, you can make your guess, and we're going to play the video right now. Now catch your breath.
I was going to pretend that this time it was me who sounded the shofar longest, but I actually couldn't hold my breath as long as Janet. There are people in this Zoom room who know Janet really well, right? Acadia does, Adam and Gabe do. She's really special and very talented. Okay, friends, we're starting to come to the end of our service. We're nearing the end, and I want everybody to take a little quiet time. Sometimes our prayers are loud and dramatic and upbeat, and sometimes they're very relaxing and quiet. So what I want you to do is take a really deep breath, just like you were going to sound shofar, and let it out. And actually close your eyes. Really close your eyes. Get comfy. That means you lie down, that's fine. Or if you snuggle up. We want 2 minutes of being comfy. And while you are comfy, you can sort of notice your breath coming in. The air feels kind of cool as you inhale. And the air feels kind of warm as you exhale. And you can see how deeply that cool feeling reaches in your body as you inhale. And you can feel the warm air leaving your body if you exhale through your mouth, or maybe you can even feel it through your nose. Just try noticing that you're breathing. So much of the time, we don't even notice. It happens without us thinking about it. Now's a good time to think about it, to be grateful and thankful and appreciative of it. And so you can use this time just to breathe and to be comfy. Or if you want, you can be thinking of blessings that you would like to see in the new year. What would make this coming year a good year and a sweet year for you? And we're going to start with keeping your eyes closed. And I'm going to sing some pretty music. I'm going to sing a Hebrew blessing that says, May we be written in the book of life and peace, for good health, for all of the things that we need, all of us, all the people of Israel, and most importantly, for a good life. And then we'll hear Rachel's beautiful guitar, and together we'll sing Avinu Malkeinu at the end of just a couple minutes of quiet time. So closed eyes, deep breath for one more minute. Sefer Chaim bracha uveshalom nizacher v'nikatev lefanecha anachnu v'chol amcha Beit Yisrael L'chaim tovim u'leshalom.
Repeat after me. Avinu Malkeinu. Try that. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu. Again. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu.
Well, now we've reached the end of the symbols and flags portion of our program. I found this on my Zoom filters. I thought it would be fun for this particular lesson. Now I'm going to open up another whiteboard, and I want you to think carefully about this next thing. I'm not teaching, you're teaching this time. I want you to think about who you are and what symbols represent you. It could be something that's your favorite food, your favorite activity, maybe the culture where your family comes from. It could be the members of your family. I'm going to open up the whiteboard. I'll keep mentioning some different things if you need ideas. Oops, we still have our. All right. So I don't think there's so many of us that that we can't divide up the page here. Let's see. Can I do that? Oh, it doesn't want me to. Well, my annotating isn't working. I don't know if Rabbi Rapport or Rosemary or Rachel, but basically I was just going to try. Oh, there we go. All right. My lines are not straight. Does everybody want to take one square and make a flag for your family? Make a flag for yourself. Make some symbols that represent you. You might have to think about it or talk about it with the people around you. It could be a letter of the alphabet. It could be your favorite book, your favorite animal. So hard to figure out a visible sign for an invisible idea, for an invisible concept. We're complicated human beings. But I'm confident that you guys can do this. And if I didn't make enough squares for people who I can't always see on the screen, please know that you can just take out a piece of paper. You can also take a little square, on the screen that's not being used. You can also take a piece of paper and do this exercise and take a picture and send it to me. I'd love to see them. I really like seeing these develop in real time. You don't always get to see that with art. I can't always tell whose is whose, but I have an advantage in this particular situation as my family's downstairs, and we are a gerbil pet family. So I can tell which one of these squares is other members of my family downstairs. Is there anybody that would like to tell us about their flag, whether or not you're finished with it? Isaac, was that a hand up?
Yes, my flag is a Jewish star with green because country house. It's kind of like a house. You can see the concept there.
Yeah, so it's a house, but used green to represent being in the country.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and now I'm going to add something.
Okay, would anybody else like to tell us about their symbols or their flag?
My flag is about my family. So the TMNPA is for my name, and for my mom, one of my sisters, my popson, and my other sister, Adina. And then the heart is just because for decoration.
Thank you for sharing. It's beautiful. Would anyone else like to share? See, there's lots more gerbils appearing on the screen, Acadia. Well, I'm very interested that some of the symbols some of you are using are some of the symbols we've talked about today, and you're using them and other things to represent yourself and your family. And that was really what this lesson was about, to try to think about. Oh, go ahead.
You can see what I added to it, representing the city.
Is that a building?
Yes.
That is genius.
I used the box, but it's a light color. It makes it light so you can see through.
That is such a smart idea.
The see-through box is just great.
So I just want to end with this part of my symbols and flags part of the program, part of the service. With these flags cannot possibly represent all of who you are. No one thing can. We're complex, we're complicated, we exist with many different ideas, and we change different things about ourselves maybe in the same day or in the same week, and certainly in the same lifetime. So just because we can't see it on your flag does not mean that it's not there. Just like ultraviolet light, just like all of the different people that exist in the rainbow, we don't have to represent every single one of them. We can think about the concept and know that you're there and know that you're loved and celebrate who you are. So I think you guys have done an amazing job. I don't know if we can handle any more hearts on the screen. So I'm going to stop the share, but I just wanted to give you a chance to look at it before I do that, before I close this down. 3, 2, 1. We have a beautiful set of artists here, Rabbi.
We do. And one of the things that we try to transmit through our visual stories. Ooh, we even have some like drawn in marker that people were holding up.
Yeah, I saw those that you guys were holding up. I couldn't see them when the screen was up. Can I see them now?
Jewish
Oh,
star.
beautiful.
Oh, Jewish star on Jewish star. Nice. Well, some of the things that have been passed down to us, oh, big smile,
Love it.
About who we are as families, as people, as Jewish people, as people who are part of an LGBTQ community, we got from people who are no longer here. And that's one of the reasons why symbols and pictures and stories are so important to us, because they carry for us these messages that are way older than we are, that stretch back to the very beginning of time. And every time that we gather together, this is another one of those prayers that means something different when you do it in community instead of doing it by yourself. This is the Kaddish, which honors memory. And so I want to invite you, if you're remembering somebody who died recently, maybe even in the past year, longer ago than that, I want you to be able to share the name and maybe the relationship of that person to you. And as we're thinking about all of these people who we appreciate, who we remember, who taught us important lessons and stories, I want to add to those names the name of Gilbert Baker, our beloved member of CBST, who was the artist, the vexillologist, the flag designer who created the rainbow flag, and of Harvey Milk, his friend, who was on the San Francisco City Council, who asked him, can we make an image? Can we make a symbol that is positive, all of the best parts of who we are, that is our very own, that nobody named for us? And I want to honor all of our Jewish ancestors who passed down the words and the music that we sing today, and all of our LGBTQ ancestors who worked so hard to create a world that was better than the one that they came into. And so if you're thinking of anybody that you remember, please, you can share that name in the chat, or you can whisper it to somebody in your house, or you can hold it in your heart. And together we're going to recite the Kaddish prayer. We're going to put the words on the screen. And we say it in a special way for the high holidays. We repeat one word where usually we would just say la'ela. We say la'ela, la'ela. That means beyond, beyond, beyond. For the high holy days, we are almost impossible in how many blessings we would like to say for all of the amazing blessings in our lives, all of these people, all of these pets, all of these individuals who brought us such blessing. So if it's the way that you like to say Kaddish, to be standing up, or if it's the way you like to say Kaddish, to be sitting down, if you would like to join with me, or if you would like to just listen, you can do exactly that. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei, be'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu. La'ela, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. We are grateful, we are thankful for all of these people whose names we shared in the chat. We are grateful and we are thankful for all of the people who have given us blessings, whether we knew them in our lifetimes or not. And most of all, we are grateful for the peacemakers and for all of us to have the ability to make peace on earth. To close the prayer this morning, we'll sing those last couple lines, the Oseh Shalom, and we want you to choose how we do it. How should we end our service today? Rachel, what are the different ways that people can vote about this?
So we have two choices. We can sing the Oseh Shalom that is beautiful and slow, or we can sing the one that is fast and upbeat. So if you would like to hear the one that's fast and upbeat, which we heard yesterday, you can stand up and run in place, and I'll know that you want to vote for that one. Or if you want to hear the one that's slow and beautiful, you can sway back and forth with your arms in the air like this. And that's how we're going to make our votes. So you can run in place or you can sway back and forth. Let's see what we've got. I see some of each. I see some really fast running. I see some swaying. All right, it's a really close vote, but it looks like we've got our fast and upbeat version again. And that's some really fast running over there. All right, we're going with our fast and upbeat version by Nava Tehillah. It's going to start a little bit slower and then it'll get faster as we go. Oh, say shalom bimromav, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav, ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
Well, I know the rabbi is going to give us blessings in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you that after services are done today, we're going to be showing a slideshow of lots of children that have been in and around CBST for the years, and some of them are you. In the past year, if you've sent me pictures, or in the years before that when we were learning in Limud B'Shabbat. And I wanted to tell you that if you're not in any pictures and you'd like to be in the pictures, we would love for you to join us for holiday celebrations, for online Hanukkah candle lighting, for Limud B'Shabbat, which is CBST's primary education program for children, to help us develop our Jewish identity and have a lot of fun and make friends too. That's also the point of it. And it's going to start on October 9th this year. So if you're interested in signing up, if you're interested in signing up, you can tell your parents, or if you're interested in signing up your children, you can reach out to me or children@cbst.org. I'll put that in the chat. And we'd love to talk with you and have you as a student. It's been really wonderful to spend this time with you today. Hand it over, Rabbi.
It has been a great blessing, the greatest blessing, to hang out with all of you, to learn, to create, to share, to sing. And I'm very, very happy that I got to spend the morning with you. We're going to close with some blessings for a new year. Jennifer is going to put a link into the chat that tells you how to get a hold of us if you have any questions or you want to hang out with us more over the course of the year. And we will also put a link in for grown-up services. They are starting Musaf, which means that shofar is happening if you want to hear more shofar. But for our closing blessings, I want you to pick in our favorite symbolic language, emoji. Pick one emoji to put in the chat, or more than one, that's okay, to say, what do you hope to see in the new year? What would be a blessing for you in the new year? Is it a cupcake? Is it a gerbil? Is it friends or family or love or peace, rainbows? What do you want to see? You want to see lots more parties. I agree. I would also like to see many more parties. No masks. That's right, Isaac. I want to see much more clapping and applause, maybe even go to some real theater or concerts in person. That would be super cool. What else would we like to see in the new year? It's hard to pick from so many good symbols. We want much more positivity, many more thumbs up. We want ice cream. We want flowers. These are great, great blessings. And so, we want mice or maybe gerbils. They're close relations. And so while you're thinking, we want surprises. We love surprises. And chickens, maybe fried chicken. Maybe for lunch, houses and school. Love.
Well, in person to be specific.
All right. Thank you for the specificity of your blessing, Isaac. That's very
important. That's why I put the school building, not a laptop.
Got it.
What
very important symbolic difference. And I saw somebody wants to laugh so hard they cry over this year. That seems like a great, great blessing. So I am going to close with the blessing that we say over honey and all kinds of sweet things. I'll say it in Hebrew and then I'll translate it into English. And then we get to see some very, very sweet pictures and sing a song about how sweet honey is with Rachel. So this is how we say the blessing in Hebrew. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. May it be your will, God of our ancestors, of all of our family of origin and family of choice. Shetichadesh aleinu shana tova umetuka, that you renew us, that you make us feel new again to come into this good and sweet new year. Shana Tova, everybody. Anyada Buena. Agut Dior.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Can you say goodbye?
And I don't hear the music, but maybe Rachel can play it live on her guitar. Yeah.
Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Baruch atah
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.